everybody, and welcome back to my channel Gabbabetic. So a few weeks in the video I asked if anyone would like to see all of my diabetes supplies, and some of you got back to me and said yes, that you would really love to see it. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you all of my type 1 diabetic medication and supplies and everything that helps me manage my type 1 diabetes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. So everyone knows with type 1 diabetes you have to take insulin every day. There's a lot more than just taking insulin, which you'll see in this video. But I will start off with the insulin because it's the one everybody knows, and also it has to stay in the fridge, so I don't want it kept out of the fridge too long. So let's start with the insulin. Okay, so the reason I'm filming today is because this is the size of my medication bag from the pharmacy, and you can relate if you're type 1 diabetic. So that is why we're starting today. So first of all, let's start off with the long-acting or background insulin. This is called Tresiba, so I have to take this once per night, and it just keeps my levels stable throughout the night. This is a box I'm currently using, so I've just gotten some new boxes today, but I wanted to show you one that's open. If we take it out, I will show you how a pen looks. This is a disposable pen. I think you can get vials as well if you want. Here is the insulin inside this part. Yeah, it has 100 units of insulin. I'm taking about 15 units a day right now, so I can get a few goes out of this. And you get 5 pens in a box, which is really good because there's a good amount in that. It suits me for what I'm taking. And yeah, this is the background insulin, so that I take once in the nighttime, and it keeps my levels stable throughout the day. The second insulin then is my NovaRapid insulin, and this is the insulin that I take when I'm going to eat. So this covers the food that I'm eating. It's known as a bolus insulin. The other insulin is known as a basal insulin. Inside you will find, obviously this is an old packet, I've just gotten a new packet today, but I want to show you inside. I actually need to change this right now, so I'm going to do it. So I talked about this in my NovaPen Echo video. I'll link it down below if you want to see that, but this is the pen that fits this type of insulin. Let's change it. I'm just gonna, and you can see this more clearly in my other video, but take it out, pop open this part, 3 parts now, the vial is out, so we want to put that inside there. And voila, the pen is made. Now I've got my new insulin inside here and it's ready to go. Yeah, covers me throughout the day, 100 units in each vial as well, but you do need a pen if you're using vials that fits. So this is the NovaPen Echo. If you want to see more about the pen, check out my video, it's in the description down below. But that is the second insulin. So they're the 2 insulins I take. This one is for bolus, for meals. The other one is a background one, which keeps my levels stable throughout the day. They are the only 2 medications that need to go in the fridge, besides emergency medication, which I'll talk about later on. Yeah, so store them in the fridge when you're not using them, and then once you take them out, you have a month, and you keep the ones that you're using at room temperature. So that's the insulin. I think next, out of my bag of medication, I should show you the needles, because they kind of to do with the insulin. These are the needles that you use to inject the insulin. So there's lots of different brands. This is the one that I'm currently using at the moment, this CarePoint. What's important is the size of the needle. So these are 4mm needles, which I think are the smallest size needles that you can get. They screw on to the top of your insulin pen, and these are how you inject your insulin. But yeah, 4 is the smallest. You can definitely get bigger. I use 4 because they're the ones that give me the least bruising. So when you open the box, this is how it looks. You can see that there are a lot of needles in there, but like I'm injecting 5-6 times a day, so I need to have a lot of needles. And this is how one needle looks on its own. When you are going to use it, you just peel off this part here, and then here's the needle inside here. Yeah, people be like, oh, I couldn't inject myself when I was type 1 diabetic. These needles, like, you don't even feel them. They're so small, honestly, like, they're really small, like, you can't feel them. So that is needles. So I have a few boxes of them per month. So let's talk about the next kind of biggest part of type 1 diabetes, which is checking your blood sugar. Probably seen people pricking their finger to get blood out to take their blood sugar. Things have gotten so much better though in the last like 4 or 5 years with the invention of continuous glucose monitoring and flash glucose monitoring. Before, I had to prick my finger all the time. Now I have my Freestyle Libre on here. So the Freestyle Libre is a flash glucose monitor. You put it on every 2 weeks. It stays on your skin, And then when you want your blood sugar reading, you tap your phone off it, or you can use a reader. If you watch my Libre 1, Libre 2 video, you'll know about that. I'll link it down below if you want to see that. But anyway, you tap your phone or your reader off of the Freestyle Libre, and it gives you your blood sugar, so you don't need to prick your finger or anything like that anymore. It's made things so much better, and you're able to get those graphs and see how your blood sugar is throughout the day, things that you could never see before. Things have dramatically improved in the last like few years, especially for me. It's really helped with my glycemic control, HbA1c. So we'll pull out the Freestyle Libre. Honestly, you'll have seen this lots of times before on my channel. Here's how the box looks. There's a picture on the front of how the sensor looks. But you'll have seen me talk about this so many times on my channel before if you want to watch any of those videos. And I get 2 boxes per month. Each sensor sits on your arm for about 2 weeks. Usually, sometimes they fall off, but about 2 weeks. And then you're able to use that to check your blood sugar all the time. So this has been a huge help to me. So good. So check out any of my Freestyle Libre videos if you want to see more about that. Now, like I said, if you don't have a Freestyle Libre, you will have to prick your finger to get your blood, and this is my monitor here. So yeah, I just open it, prick my finger, do a blood sugar test, and it gives me a reading. When you have Freestyle Libre, you can't just rely on it 100%. Sometimes you do need to check your blood sugar. So you need to have 2 things. First of all, you need to have Lancets to put in your little machine to be able to prick your finger, and you need test strips for the machine. I have an AccuCheck mobile. Here are the test strips that I get. So I get 3 boxes per month with 50 strips in each cassette. Once a cassette is empty, the monitor tells me, and I just open the back of the monitor, take out cassette, and put in a new one. I currently only have 3 per month, which is 150 test strips. If I was only using my blood sugar monitor and not the Freestyle Libre, I would 100% get more of these, because I would need to be pricking multiple times a day. But because I'm only using it when my blood sugar is low or high, or sometimes just to double check, 150 of these is enough per month for me. So they are my test strips for the monitor. Like I said though, you still need a little lancet, it's called, which is like a kind of a little drum of needles to put inside the monitor, which will prick your finger to get the blood out. These are the lancets that go inside the monitor. The ones I use are like a drum, and they have 6 needles inside each. They go into here on the monitor, and when you've used one, you go and press that, and that means there's 3 clean needles left that you can use. When that's full, you just pull off the top, and you can see the grey drum there. That's the part that you pull out and replace with a new one of these. So yeah, for your blood sugar monitor, you need both lancets, and you're gonna need a test strip as well. Right, so I don't know how many things we've shown now, but we keep going. Yeah, if you're new to type 1 diabetes or the channel, you might be shocked because we're still going with the medication. It doesn't stop. What's left in my bag, I will show you, and then there's a few more things. So the second last things left in the bag, these are ketone strips. And ketone strips are used for when you have a high blood sugar. So if you have a high blood sugar, it can be very dangerous, and you might build up this kind of toxic compound called ketones. The danger of ketones is that they can lower the pH of your blood and your body, and that is very dangerous and can put you into DKA or diabetic ketoacidosis. So you need to be able to check for levels of ketones in your blood. Because this isn't something that I'd be checking for every day, I get 2 boxes of 10 ketone strips per month. As it's a test strip, you're going to need a monitor to put it into. I can't use my AccuCheck monitor for these because there's nowhere to put them into it, but I can use my Freestyle Libre monitor. So the monitor that I actually use is the Freestyle Libre 1 monitor. You take a test strip out of here, put it inside this monitor. Again, you prick your finger, get some blood, and then you will read your levels of ketones on this monitor. So these are kind of, I get 2 per month just in case, but honestly, like when I need them, I need a lot of them. For example, if I was sick, I'd be testing a lot of times per day. So even though I don't need them every month, I need to have enough of them for when I do get sick, if that makes sense, to be able to check the ketones. So yeah, that's the ketone strips. So what I've just showed you now is probably like my core medication: the insulins, the needles, the test strips, the ketones, the Freestyle Libre monitor. They're the things that I will get repeated every month because I need them to live. So they're like the core medication and supplies, I would say. There are other things that I'm going to show you now. So first of all, I'm going to talk about emergency hypos. Hypos are low blood sugars. If you watch my channel or you're type 1 diabetic, you know that they feel awful. So when you do have a low blood sugar, you need to put glucose into your body in order to bring up the sugar levels again before you get to dangerous level and faint or pass out. In some countries, you can get glucose tablets on prescription. I don't think you can do it in the UK, but I haven't done it anyway. So for an immediate hypo treatment, if I'm feeling good enough to treat it myself, I just buy my own glucose supplies. So this is the one thing for the diabetes that I don't get on prescription. My hypo treatment is Lucozade, which is a glucose drink. So probably every week in the shop, I just buy a few bottles of these and have them around for when I have low blood sugars. So you do need a hypo treatment. If you're lucky enough, you'll be able to get glucose tablets on prescription, but other than that, you can just buy them in the shop like me. However, there are hypo treatments that you should get on prescription, and these are for the more serious low blood sugars. Luckily, I haven't had to use them too much ever, or had to have someone else use them on me. It's kind of hard to explain without getting too much into low blood sugars and diabetes. If you want to see a video about emergency treatments and hypo treatments for type 1 diabetes, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, I'll just show you the supplies that I have, but I won't go into it too much. So the last thing for my big bag then is to do with these hypo treatments. I have just gotten a new supply of Glucagon. So this is a gel that is full of glucose, as you can imagine. And I would say this is for a more serious hypo, not to a level where you've passed out, but definitely to a very, very low blood sugar level. I had to get a new one because my previous one expired, but I did have to use this once in the last year. My blood sugar dropped to like 1.9 and I was just in a very bad state. I didn't know where I was. I couldn't move. So my boyfriend actually had to use this gel. How this gel works is that you rub it on the inside of the gums and it absorbs into the bloodstream. I have one open at the moment that I keep beside my bed and it looks like this. So it's a very fast acting dextro gel. You can see that it has a large amount of glucose in it. So yeah, for a very serious hypo, you would rub this on the inside of the gums of the person, or they could do it themselves if they are awake enough. But yeah, rub it on the gums, it absorbs rapidly into the bloodstream and brings up the blood sugar. The other more serious hypo treatment is a Glucagon injection. So it looks like this. It comes in this case. Essentially, it has an injection in here, and this would be if a type 1 diabetic person was passed out or unconscious. I would always advise call an ambulance first. It has an injection inside, so you can put it together, draw up glucose, and inject that directly into the person for rapid absorption. But this is used when a type 1 diabetic person is unconscious. There's a syringe here, there's a vial here, there's instructions how to use it. You can see in the background it says exactly how to use it as well. If you want to see me talk more specifically about it, let me know in the comments down below. I don't get this too often on prescription, but it is very important to have at least one in your fridge because you never know when you could have a really, really bad hypo and pass out. I've never had to use one of these, luckily. I just keep a supply in the fridge of one or two. Currently I have this one in the fridge. As you can see, it expires in September 2022. So near the time I will get a newer one of these. Very important to make sure they're not expired. So definitely make sure you have a Glucagon injection in your fridge if you are type 1 diabetic. An important thing of type 1 diabetes is to have backups. So make sure you have enough of the day-to-day supplies like the ones I just showed you. But I also have some backup things like spare monitors and batteries and things like that. So I'm just going to show you them now. So you know I have my usual AccuCheck monitor that I showed you earlier to do my blood sugar. I also have a spare in case that breaks. My spare is actually a pink one. I don't know where I got this one, but this is how it looks. So I have a box of like spare supplies. Keep this in there in case anything happens to my regular blood sugar monitor. I also have a spare and kind of old Freestyle monitor. This is what I used to use for ketones before I had the Freestyle Libre. So I have that spare in case I need to use that again. I can put the ketones inside of it. My monitors use AAA batteries, so I keep a spare supply of them so that when the monitor runs out of batteries, I can just top it up and not have to worry about going to the shop and getting batteries and having a monitor that doesn't work for that time, because it's really annoying when it runs out of batteries and you're like really needing to do a blood sugar. So I would definitely say keep some spare batteries. Other things I have another one of the Glucogels because when you use one, you have to kind of use the whole tub, so I keep a spare. You also need to charge up these Freestyle Libre readers if you do use them, so make sure that you have the charger. It comes in the box when you first get the reader. Ow. So keep that. I also have a spare pen. I was in the situation before where my pen broke and I had to send off for a new one, so you definitely need a spare pen. You don't want to be trying to find an insulin pen because it took a while to get. This is my spare one. It's a pretty old one, but I just keep it as a spare because you never know. Yeah, I think I've showed you everything. The only other spare things I have is I keep a track of my HbA1c, so I have this graph, so you can see that like In 2019 I was here at 7.9. I've come down really far, I think 6.6. I haven't got one done. I have one scheduled for next week, so we'll see what we go to. Yeah, I keep this to track of my HbA1c, which is my average blood glucose over 3 months. Other things, I used to use a blood glucose monitoring diary before I had the Freestyle Libre, so I keep a few spares of them. Basically they just let you write in your blood sugars and how much insulin you take. Then I also have, I did a Daphne course, which is dose adjustment for normal eating with type 1 diabetes. So I have a carbohydrate content book. If you're very new to carb counting and you're not really sure how to do it, this book is great. I kind of know these by now, but I'll give you an example of like what it would say. For example, fish fingers, portion size 3, 60 grams. CP is carbohydrate portion, so they're saying that's 1 carbohydrate portion. My ratio is 10 units of insulin for every 1 carbohydrate portion, so that means I would need 1 unit of insulin to cover them. Type 1 diabetes is very complicated, so this can be very, very useful when you're new to it. Okay, so I put everything back in my big bag to put away. I think I've showed you everything. There is a lot more than insulin, as you can see. And you really have to be on it because you need to have your stuff. You never know when you're going to need it. You don't want to be, for example, having a sick day looking for ketone test strips and realize that you have none. So the top tip for type 1 diabetes is to be very organized, which is not easy to do. So that's why I hope this video will help anyone who is type 1 diabetic or anyone who wants to know more about it, to know the real detail of what you need behind it. It's more than just insulin. Yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below anything that you use for your type 1 diabetic supplies or just what you thought of this video. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you did like this video. I need to go put my supplies away, but I'll see you all in the next video.